Well, I'm Matt Larson from Japan Import Tackle. Today, I got the Signal Ultra Carp 16-inch bait, weighs 20 ounces. It's a big boy. Today, I was using a Dobbins rod that's rated up to 20 ounces. I'm going to suggest something a little heavier and with a little bit more backbone for casting. Also, today, I was using braided line. Definitely would not suggest that. This bait, when reeled, slow speeds and fast speeds, you get a really big tail kick and big head movement too. This bait is real lifelike. As the name suggests, it has trout colors and carp colors. Also, they recommend a 4/0 hook on the bait. Today, I just put a 7/0 hook because that's what I had on me. They also have rigging suggestion for a stinger hook that goes back on the belly, and also stinger hook setup for on the back here. The Trinx 300. I'd recommend a 400 style reel. Yeah, but 300 works. The people who are going to use this bait already have the gear for it. You know, people who are throwing the big Roman maid chaser and stuff like that. It's that caliber of bait. Braid line will work, but if you get a backlash, the bait's gone. The only thing I'm curious to see is if monofilament or fluorocarbon will be shocked when the bait, you stop the reel or get a backlash or anything, if it's gonna shock the line and weaken the line. So maybe 25-pound monofilament? Yes, at least.
25, 30.
Yeah. Same with the fluorocarbon 25-30. Yeah. Possibly even using shock fluorocarbon, the shock leaders. But then you're messing with, you would have to have a pretty long leader then, because then you're messing with the line-to-line connection. But I know for muskie fishing, and this is what I use for muskie occasionally, is 80-pound braid on here right now. Yeah. There's a few muskie rods I have. I believe one's made by St. Croix called the Big Nasty.
Yeah.
That one would have the capability of throwing this bait, I believe. I'll have to try it out. And I'm sure a lot of the guys have rods for sale. Maybe iRod, Dobbins may have one that's rated up to it, but this is your big fish caliber rod. My first impression was that it had a pretty slow sink, as well as looked exactly like how a fish would move in the water. Between the tail and the head roll, it's just enough tail kick and a head roll. With the colors and the back color, the way it looked in the water, definitely lifelike was my first thought. Not at this size, but you have a lot of like 10-inch Huddlestons and stuff like that have similar kicking action. This one, because of the slower sink rate, I'd be fishing it closer to the surface. Huddlestons for me, I usually use near the bottom. This is a lot softer of a plastic too. Yeah, it's just a whole different size class on its own.
This was the sinking bait.
Yeah, especially pay attention to your hook that you put on. This is definitely oversized for this bait and probably made it sink a lot more. But it's easy to control depth with reel speed. With the amount that this tail kicks, you're able to control where it is in the water column. You can easily fish this shallow water and up in the top water column. Very flexible. It's your boot style. It also has two little additions to the fin here. So those might be stabilizing, but it also gives a side profile of an actual tail with them on there. I think it's durable. It's definitely very soft though. It kind of reminds me of like a Grow Design Works feel. Pretty stretchy too, but it feels like that kind of quality of a Grow Work where their joint is all plastic. So it's gonna be tough, and that's how this one's feeling to me.